This is the solution to Tutorial 2, Case Problem 1, starting on page 109, the FrostiWear Sales Report. So to keep this rather brief, though I'm going to go into detail on some steps, there are some that I'm going to skip. Starting in step 2, it wants you to set the background color for the worksheet. And you can do that by clicking here and then choosing the background color from the fill button. Okay, and then it has you change some of them to white and some text color. Most everybody knows how to do that, so we'll move right on to step 4. Go to the glove sales worksheet, add formulas to calculate the total sales for each month and region over the 3 glove models. So we're going to add a totals column here. And we're going to do the sum function to calculate the total for each month. Go ahead and fill that down for all of the products and all of the months. And then what I'm going to do is just delete the ones that aren't for any particular month. Then it also wants you to do the totals along the bottom for the region. So you can use the sum function for that as well, and then fill that across. You can also use the auto sum for this if you want. I generally don't do that for the beginning cases just because I really want students to become familiar with the syntax for the functions that we are learning. So it says in step 5, merge and center the range A1 to H1. So we're going to highlight A1 to H1 and then the button on the home ribbon, merge and center, we're going to click on that to do that. It says apply the title cell style and increase the font to 26 points. So cell styles are also on the home ribbon, and we're going to choose title and then use the up or the increase font size button until we get to 26. It wants us to do almost the same thing to A2 to H2, highlight, merge and center, but then it asks us to apply the heading 4 cell style and increase the font to 16. You can use the increase or decrease font size buttons, or you can go here to the font size and choose the font size specifically. Alright, moving on to step 6. It says merge and center the range A3 to A16. So we're going to take A3, highlight that to A16, and do a merge and center. It also wants us to set the alignment to middle align. So here in the alignment grouping, we go to middle and rotate the text up. So here's the rotate text button, and we click on it and choose rotate text up. It says apply the accent 1 cell style. So go over here to cell styles, choose accent 1. Increase the font size to 18 and then bold the text. Alright, so that completes step 6, and then they say use the format painter to do that exact same thing to the ranges A18 to A31 and A33 to A46. So if I click on the cell, and I'm going to try and copy the formats of this cell to 2 separate cell ranges. So I'm going to double click the format painter to turn it on, and then once I turn it on, any cells that I touch will have that formatting copied. If I just clicked it once, that formatting would only be copied once, and then the format painter would be turned off. I want it to stay on, so I'm going to double click it and highlight A18 to A31 and then A33 to A46, and you can see that it copies the formatting to those instead of having to go step by step and merge, align, rotate, apply the cell style, increase the font, and bold the text. So it's a huge savings. And then when I'm done with the format painter, I click on it again to turn it off. Alright, step 8, center the text in the range C3 to H3. So we go C3 to H3 and we're going to center it. Here it wants us to include the thousands separators and no decimal places, so I can click here on the comma. You can see though that adds decimal places, so I can use the decrease decimal button to take those away. Another option, I'm going to do the same thing to this range down here. Another option would be to just click on the number launcher and then specifically choose the thousand separator and 0 decimals. Okay, either way is fine. All right, doing the same thing, centering these, applying the thousand separator here. In the range, so now we're on step 9, in the range BH to H16, or I'm sorry, B3 to H16, so here B3 to H16. It wants us to apply the table style medium 2. Okay, so we're going to go to the insert ribbon and click on table. And when you are formatting a range as a table, you want to make sure that this My Table Has Headers is checked if in fact you do have headings in your table. If you do select that, this is what it looks like. Okay, and then it gives you the filter arrows, and you go to data and deselect the filter button to get rid of those arrows. If you didn't do that when you did insert table, what it would do is it would insert headings for you. Okay, and then trust me, if you do that, you want to undo here and go back and make sure you have the My Table Has Headers checked. Okay, and again, data and filter to remove the arrows. It says apply table style medium 2, so once we format this as a table, it gives us a new ribbon. And if we go here to table styles, this one here is table style medium 2. Okay. It says to display on step 9, display the header row, first column, last column, and banded rows. When it's talking about that, it's talking about features on the Table Tools Design ribbon, right here in Table Style Options. So it wants the first column and the last column checked. And what that does is you can see here the last column and the first column now, we communicate with Excel that this is different than the data. It contains labels or totals, so format it differently. So that's the benefit of checking those, and you can see that header row and banded rows are already checked. And then it says in B16 to H16, change the fill color to yellow. So we're going to go here to the home ribbon where we have the fill button and change it to yellow. Now it wants us to do the same thing for these two areas here. So insert table, make sure My Table Has Headers is checked. Go to data and deselect the filter button to get rid of those arrows. And then we're going to apply the table style medium 2 and then choose first column, last column, header row and banded rows. And then make this last one the fill color yellow. All right, so that's done. We're done now through step 10. And in step 11, what they're wanting you to do is set it up for printing. Whoops, I forgot to remove the arrows here. They want you to set it up for printing. So it says in the glove sales worksheet, set the page orientation to landscape. So we're going to go to page layout and set orientation to landscape. Insert manual page breaks at cells A18 and A33. So click in cell A18. And on the page layout ribbon again, go to breaks and do insert page break. And the same thing in A33, insert page break. Then it asks us to repeat the first 2 rows of the worksheet on every printed page. So again, still on the page layout ribbon in the page setup grouping, we're going to click on print titles, and where it says rows to repeat at top, I'm going to click here and then highlight rows 1 and 2. So what that means is it will print the titles, rows 1 and 2, on every sheet. Click on OK. Actually, we can print preview if you want to see what this looks like, and you can see that it's doing exactly what they asked us to do. Okay, and step 12, display your name in the center header. So we're going to go to Insert, Header and Footer. And here is the center header. Here's left, center, and right. In the center header, it says to display your name. and the file name in the left footer. So we're going to scroll down till we get to the footer. Here's the left footer. It asks you to display the file name. Now when you are doing things like the file name and date, I would like you to use these, the header and footer tools commands to insert it. So here we're going to click on file name, because what that does is now no matter what you name your file, it will always update in the footer because you've written the command for it instead of manually type the file name. So make sure you do that for all of your files when it asks for the file name, date, or page numbers in the footer, that you use the Excel buttons to do it. Don't just type it in. It asks us then in the center footer to type page and then insert the page number and then the word of, space, and then the number of pages. And then in the right footer it asks us to display the current date. Okay? And so that's it. When we go and we do a print preview, you can see that it has the rows repeating on top, just this section because there's a page break in there, my name in the center header, the file name on the left, page numbers in the middle, and date on the right footer.